Good morning. It's Lorna Wagner here from Maritime UK, and I'm lucky enough to be joined by Eleanor this morning, who's going to talk to us about her own career pathway. Hi, Eleanor.
Good morning.
Could I ask you, before we do anything else, to introduce yourself, to tell us what your job title is, and tell me who the organisation is that you work for?
Certainly. So I'm Dr. Eleanor Darlington. I am a programme manager for National Marine Facilities, and I work at the National Oceanography Centre based in Southampton.
Okay, fantastic. So let's start off. Can I ask what drew you to the maritime sector?
Oh, yes, travel. Number one, travel. I wanted to see the world, and I wanted a job that would take me there, so I could see it through that, through a different lens. I also wanted a really interesting job. I grew up by the sea, so having seen, I love the ocean anyway. But I think realising that it supports so much more than just a bit of beach swimming. We've got our leisure, we've got our transport, biodiversity, and its involvement in the climate cycle, which is huge. And it was eventually the interaction, the science side of it, the interaction of the climate cycle that really drew me in.
Now, that's great. That leads nicely into my second question, which is, what was your entry pathway?
So at A level, I studied geology, physics, chemistry, and photography. So I think no matter how many sciences you want to do, you always need something else to mix it up. So that for me was photography. And then I went on to do a degree in oceanography at the University of Southampton. And following that, I did a PhD, so a doctorate, the British Antarctic Survey and Loughborough University. And in that, I studied ice-ocean interactions in the Arctic. So got really embedded in the Arctic polar science, which was just really exciting.
Amazing. And have you travelled there? Have you been there?
I have. So actually my overall career ambition was to be able to work in Antarctica, because it's the most remote place in the world. It's full of challenge, and you've got to work as a team to be there, and that I just thought was really interesting. So I was very lucky in that my PhD took me onto the ice in Antarctica. So I had a camping trip over Christmas one year, and I've since been down back to Antarctica on ships, and also worked in the Arctic on research ships as well, out on the sea ice between Greenland and Svalbard.
Now, that was my third question. What's been your career highlight? So that's been it so far, I'm guessing. What's your new career ambition then?
So my new career ambition is to make a positive difference, because I think one thing I've learned is that there's just so much going on, and it's to try and make a difference, particularly helping other people achieve their goals, because for any kind of field research in ocean science, there's a huge amount of support in terms of facilities and technical capability that goes into it. And as we start to look at more complex problems, we need more engineering and more sort of diversity in that realm. So really to try and make a difference like that. And if I'm honest, I just want an interesting and varied job. I want to be happy, and it's about that interest. So.
Amazing. It's interesting that you talk about engineering. I keep hearing about engineering, but someone asked me the other day if we should change the name of it to ingenuity, or even creative problem solving, because that might then open a door to other people who preconceive engineering to be one particular thing.
Oh, it's all just about problem solving, and that's being able to get into something and seeing a challenge and working out how to change it or adapt it or to make it work, and that's what really gets me going.
Yeah, absolutely. So question 4 is about who has been the most influential or the most important person on your career journey. Who can you name one? Well, you don't have to name them, but can you identify one person?
So my granddad was an engineer, and he would always say, read everything and talk to everyone. And so he got me talking to one of his friends who had a son who worked in polar science, and that was really what got me there. But at the end of the day, it was really having, my parents have been incredibly supportive, and and just a whole network of people. I don't think I could say one person, but I think really going from that read everything, talk to everyone, I've ended up having so many conversations with different people, and that's really helped me.
Yeah. And finally, last question. So if you had some advice, what advice would you give your 16-year-old self if you could now?
Have confidence in yourself. Realize that things don't go to plan. I was probably age 16. I was printing off job descriptions for jobs in the polar regions, because that's really where I wanted to get to. In the end, I didn't apply or get any of those jobs. I failed at every one of those interviews, but I found alternative pathways. And I think having my eyes open to other things that are out there has just been really important. So knowing that I wanted this interesting job with travel and keeping that close to my heart, but realizing that there are different ways of getting there, and just finding the right pathway for me. So yeah, have confidence in yourself. And when things don't go to plan, there'll be something else around the corner.
That's amazing. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.